Frank Lampard. I think we were all kind of interested to see him sitting in the stands yesterday, and it looks like he's open to accept the Chelsea job until the end of the season. Is this a good idea? Do you understand this idea? Where the hell did this come from?
I mean, this is absolute nonsense. I mean, does nobody in this situation have any shame? Does Lampard not have some professional pride?
Before you go in quickly, JJ, let me just say, maybe he might have been hanging out with Todd Boehly that time he was in LA a couple of years back. So Todd Boehly might have met him, and that's why they kind of get this opportunity. So you can't blame him.
He's also a legend at the club.
So what?
Make him an ambassador. Don't make him the head coach, the manager of the club.
I mean, if Lampard wants back in one of his former clubs, he should take the West Ham job, Nige.
Yeah, maybe coming for
that one. I'm just going to say this, Ian. How are you going to take someone back that was in charge, that you sacked, that the club sacked, and then the manager who came in won the Champions League with a below par squad, and he upset a lot of senior players? Didn't like Lampard, and you want to take him back now in this situation where they're not playing like a team. There's no identity in Chelsea. It's a bunch of individuals. As soon as he comes back in that dressing room, those same senior players who didn't really take to Lampard, how do you think they're going to react again now?
But equally, this now makes it a really, really difficult job for Bruno Saltor while he remains in charge, because he knows already that not only are Chelsea lining up a long-term replacement for him logically, sort of from the summer, they're lining up a short-term replacement for him as well. It might not happen in time for the weekend, so he might still have a game in charge. It's a very, very messy situation. And I think, to be honest, while you've already got an interim boss in place, why do you need to appoint another interim boss while you're pursuing the main target? It's nonsense.
Yeah, if I'm a main target,
I don't like how I'm sounding like Roy Keane, but it is madness.
But if I'm a main target, I'm having second thoughts already when I see this. This tells you how toxic the club is. This tells you how directionless the club is when they're making a calamity of things. When you have a manager that's going to come in the future, the thing you do is clear the runway. And if it's Julian Nagelsmann, who wants to feel like the main man and want to know that, hey, we believe in you, this is going to be your project, seeing this is going to put major question in whether it's his mind or Luis Enrique's.
After watching that game today from Real Madrid against Barcelona, any chance, Nigel, here for Chelsea? Need to score, don't they?
No chance. They've got absolute no chance. I mean, I watched Chelsea in their last game, and they were absolutely they're a bunch of individuals. That is it. That's all I see is a bunch of individuals. I don't see a team. I don't see a simple style of play. They all play like a bunch of individuals, and they look like they barely even like each other. There's no real togetherness in that Chelsea team. And for me, it's great to see Conte back. He is their best midfielder. I don't care how much they pay for Enzo Fernandez. The influence that he has and what he brings to that Chelsea team is still unbelievable, and it's priceless. But put it in. If we're all sitting back as managers now, sit outside looking in, how could you really say you want to go to a club like Chelsea with everything that you've seen? And let's be real, from what we've seen, what manager do you honestly think Todd Boehly is going to give full control to? As a manager going into Chelsea, you know now, no matter how much of a story you sell Todd Boehly or how much of a presentation you do, he's going to do what he wants. You're not going to be able to bring in who you want and do what you want. So why would you go to a club like that?
No, it's a great question. I actually brought it up to Fabrizio on our show earlier this week. I was like, have you heard of a coach or any coach that actually doesn't want to go to Chelsea because of the mess they're in right now? I would imagine, and I mean, obviously, to me personally, I could imagine that Nagelsmann maybe is target number one for them, but they're trying to convince, the move between Bayern Munich to make it happen, or Nagelsmann to take the job now, because it's very difficult to go in now with what's happening with Chelsea, be able to turn everything around and then have success. But they are still in major competition, and obviously European competition, and still, it's a bit of a mess in the Premier League right now, but still they're a decent squad of players. If you can get them ticking, you might be able to make something happen. I just wonder if there's coaches out there who are turning this opportunity down. JJ, there was obviously rumor that Luis Enrique was spotted in London today. Any more on that?
Ooh.
I haven't heard anything sort of developing on that sort of more so than we've already heard today. But sort of adding to your point, that's such a risk for somebody like a Nagelsmann, and I think probably the managers who are looking at this sort of most, sort of eyeing this as a potential next job, with a bit of hunger, with a bit of appetite, are probably those who have sat out of the game for the best part of the last season. So I'm thinking, the Pochettinos, guys who actually want to get back into the day-to-day, whereas Nagelsmann, this would be like out of the frying pan into the fire. This is the risk that somebody like Nagelsmann would have of bad form building up in the last couple of weeks of this season, then leading him into next season, sort of under a cloud already. The list would be the risk would be quite substantial. So I think that's probably why a lot of potential candidates are approaching this one with caution. Enrique has sort of thrown his hat into the ring for England, but not for Spurs when Antonio Conte was sacked, and then suddenly Chelsea. That position opens up, and I think his plans have probably moved forward a little faster than he hoped as well. So, I think we keep hearing all of this about, Chelsea are going to do an exhaustive search into, a potential head coach. I mean, if Enrique has visited London today, that's fairly far advanced. It doesn't sound like it's going to be that much, more exhaustive, if they're already potentially interviewing candidates and they're coming all the way to London for it.
Certainly a wild situation at Chelsea Football Club, and to everybody out there who's jumping in our chats, including you, Vic. I can see all of them right there. Jealous Manchester United, PSG, and Aston Villa fans on this panel.
Jealous of what? Has he seen where Unai Emery's got us in the table at the moment?
Go to break. Don't give this guy.
That's why I love Chelsea fans. They're just so in denial of how much of a mess their club is right now, man. And it's turned into a play toy for Todd Boehly. That's the reality. And
also in denial.
Yeah, exactly. And then I look at João Felix as well, Ian. Fantastic performance, but he looks like he's playing for a move somewhere else already. Like he looks like he's bored of London already.